it's going. It's broadcasting, and then you hit start recording it. It should be recording on
Well, no, the health office. Where is he from? So, your medical director is. So that's all set up.
Well, we haven't done that. When we transfer over to the department.
Okay.
That's the contract. I think that's.
Yeah. That's okay.
Just.
That's what we try to do. This is where I got stuck.
After I made that statement
The last month's
the EDC, folded the chamber into the EDC, Miriam got up and said, well, we'll have to check with our board and their board to see if that would even be plausible. And I thought, how could they supersede what we want?
Well,
They kind of work for us, don't they?
right now, both of them do.
That's what I thought.
My opinion on that is that they can say, no, we don't want to change anything, and we can say, no, we don't want to fund it.
Okay.
And if they
And leave it up to them to make the decision. We're not going to fund you. You guys decide what you want to do.
she said we're self-supporting other than our
Tourism.
tourism and all that, well, they got a tax coming in.
They got 34,000. And if the EDC says anything about, well, we don't want to take on that responsibility and that expense, one, you're getting almost $200,000 a year. Two, you sat on an $800,000 check that was to go to Broadway Broadband for 11 months. And I asked at the time, so what was our average rate of return on our checking accounts, whatever? She said 5%. Well, I calculated 5%, and it was like $40,000. So you guys are sitting on an extra 40,000 dollars.
That's the EDC.
Uh-huh.
Some people are alive.
We are? Okay, welcome to, I guess in the absence of the chair, I will be running the meeting. Welcome to the October 20th Drainage Board meeting for Carroll County. First order of business will be approval of the September 15th minutes.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, first of all, ask a question on here. It was brought up last meeting that the as-built for the Dollar General in Camden had not been received. I'm just wondering, have they been received yet?
No,
No.
so that's our next agenda item.
Okay. I would make a motion that the minutes be accepted as written.
I've got a motion, the minutes be accepted as written. I will second. Given the motion and a second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. And at this point, I will turn it over to Bob Gross, our surveyor.
Okay, yeah, as Bill just mentioned, we have not received any response from Dollar General for their Camden store. Did send out a,
Is that okay?
I can't recall the name of the letter, but he can,
Notice to cure non-compliance.
yeah.
Here's the letter we sent.
We emailed and sent it by certified, I believe, right?
Yeah. No response. I think if I got a letter like that, I would be on the phone somewhere. That's why we've asked Mike to stay here too. He can give you
Yeah.
some background on it.
Well, they have a little time to fix that then, but not much.
Yeah, I mean, this is the second official notice
Yes.
from us, you know, over a period of, what, probably 4 or 5 months?
Correct.
And this time we've got no response. That's why Ted and I have talked a little bit with the way our ordinance is set up. We felt it better to possibly dovetail in with the county area plan commission, because they do have an ordinance that has some teeth in it, because they are not in compliance with the zoning, because they're not in compliance with the drainage board. Okay, and they have, I think Ted can allude to this, that they have more teeth than what we really do, without a complete drainage ordinance.
So what can you do to them?
They should have requested a zoning compliance letter from me. Usually when someone builds a new house or a new building of any kind, when it's all said and done and it's complete or close to being complete, they'll call my office. I'll come out, do a walk around on it, make sure that they didn't do anything more than they submitted plan-wise. And then we'll send a letter stating that they've met all the local zoning requirements. That's our version of an occupancy permit or occupancy letter. So, you know, when someone builds a brand new house and technically the builder still owns it until it's completely done, and then they need a letter from us saying that the new homeowner can move in. It's the same thing. But no one's requested anything from us. So normally, before you'd even open a business and start selling goods out of it, you would want to make sure that, you know, you've did all your local requirements, right? So nothing. But I have gotten contacted several times by a third-party organization that's conducting research on this property, wanting to know, and they want me to fill out a whole packet saying that they've checked all the requirements for zoning requirements and things like that. And I believe they did it before on the other Dollar Generals, and it's because I think they get them done, they get them up and operated, and then they turn around and sell them.
Uh-huh.
So that one up by Patton has already been sold for $2 million. It was like sold within a month or two of it being finished.
Did
So-
they get all their draining squared around up there?
They did.
They did.
But that was a little bit of a struggle too, right?
Yeah, that was an effort.
Yeah. So I assume this company, like, and I told I kept passing emails back and forth with this third party. I was like, hey, like, I can't sign off on any of this because, for one, he hasn't met all my requirements. I haven't been requested to come out there and look, you know, and I'm not just going to take it upon myself and send him a letter saying they're all good because I know they're not quite done or haven't. So, like, I don't know, you know, if they haven't completed everything they're supposed to do for the state, because commercial stuff that falls onto the state to do the inspections and things like that, since we don't have a building inspector. So they're supposed to organize with the state, get construction design release from the state to do that. So like, how can I say that they've even done, you know, if, say somebody from the state said, hey, you need to make sure this is done a certain way, I don't know. So that company that was asking for the information, I pretty much just told them, I was like, well, I can't sign off on it and won't sign off on it. I said, and we're having trouble contacting the owners anyways. So, and they just took it as that and pretty much left it the way it was, so. That's, I mean, I haven't heard from anyone either since probably longer than it has been from him, so.
The state is doing the building inspection because we don't have a building inspector. They are not beholden to enforce anything else that the county has in place. So it's probably, you know, that's not our fault situation. You know, they are the ones that approve the zoning and the building itself. So, but they're not gonna enforce our rules, so we kind of, we don't have that backup, you know. So we really don't have, and this is an out-of-state owner. So, yeah, can we sue him? Yeah, we could sue him. We notify a resident agent in Indianapolis, and then we get involved in the suit. But I'm not sure that's the way to go. I haven't talked to Cindy. I want to ask her opinion on what she thinks about it. You really don't have anything in place that would prevent this from happening, and that's something that Bob and I are discussing. What can we put in place that will prevent this from happening down the road? So, yes. Thanks to Mike here, he's, you know, not giving them the certificate. I don't know if they're going to wait for that or not. If they're going to continue to operate, they may be waiting to see what our next move is. And so we're up in the air on it.
Do we have the power to lock their door?
I don't think so. Not, we don't have that in our code to, we have the power to stop work, but we don't have, and we can withhold issuance of the certificate of completion, but that doesn't really keep them from functioning legally.
Well, if they're gonna sell the property, could we put a mechanics lien or something against the?
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out if there's a way. We can't put a mechanics lien on it, we're not.
We didn't have any involvement mechanically
Yeah, and
in
we
it.
don't have that in our codes, either in the zoning, law or in our drainage, local drainage code. We don't have anything like that, so we're behind the 8 ball on that. That's what we need to implement to prevent it from happening.
Why, what is the purpose of the as-built?
To verify that they've complied with their plans that we approved. You know, to make sure that they're not dumping more water downstream than what they're supposed to. And right now, we have no idea. Just by visual, I don't believe they've complied with their plans.
You don't believe so?
I don't have any numbers to back that up.
It seems, just in general, to me that we don't have a whole lot of teeth that we can put into things. Like, you know, I've had so many calls about all this fiber optic. Everybody and their brother is putting all kind of fiber optic, and they're putting, you know, risers here, and they're putting this over here, and they're cutting through whatevers, and it just doesn't seem, you know, the only thing I can think of is the people, before they get a permit, have to put a bond, a surety bond with Highway Garage, and have, if somebody's got an issue, have their insurance company get a hold of the bond company and say, you know, we're damaged, we need recovery. But other than that, from a county standpoint, we just simply don't. And I don't know how to remedy that.
Well, we can put a bond on. That's one of the things we were talking about, is but this would require an ordinance. And we'd have to codify it and make it a requirement for the bonding. Now, we do have requirement for the bonding for the highway department. Anything that involves the highway, that's already in place. And then that's administered by the highway supervisor. But we don't have a similar requirement for drainage. So.
Is that something we should do?
Yeah, we can do that. That's what we're gonna be working on,
Okay.
doing it. But the question is, what do we do about this? This one, do you want me to have a conversation with Cindy first and see what, I think that would be what I would do first. So this needs to be the area plan commission and the
drainage,
board together
right.
If we do anything like that. I'm gonna see if there is a possibility of using another section of the Indiana code, which relates to unsafe buildings. The county commissioners are the administrative agency for the unsafe building law, which is an Indiana law. I'm gonna see if there's possible application of that. If there's any possibility that could be applied, then the Board of Commissioners, you as Board of Commissioners, could notify the owner of the property that because they haven't complied with this, that it's an unsafe property. That may be a stretch. I don't know. It's not a public, it's probably not a public safety issue, but the non-compliance with the drainage could, foreseeably in situations result in property damage resulting from inadequate on-site retention of stormwater, possibly. So it'd probably be a stretch. I don't know that we can use that or not, but that's what I'm also going to look at. We don't need you to make any decision today on this. just bringing this information to you.
Yeah, I would, ask that you do look in to see, even though it might be a stretch, throw it out there, you know,
Right.
you gotta bait the hook to see if you can catch
Right.
any fish.
Right.
And then check with Cindy and see,
Because
What she
the
thinks.
notice under the unsafe building law gives the responding party 30, I think it is, 30 or 45 days to respond to that. And if they don't respond to that, you can record that notice. And that is a requirement before you take any action on it. Recording that notice would be probably something, would be something that would be picked up by a title researcher that, oh, here's a red flag, you didn't comply with this requirement for these as-built plans. That would be the way I would hope that we could do in this situation where we don't have any, I don't think we have any leverage otherwise.
that'd be a way to attach it
Yeah.
to the
Yes.
title.
Title, yeah.
Okay.
Now, I think we need an ordinance that puts that requirement into our drainage code, our county ordinance, our book, that in a situation like this, that might be the better way to enforce it than try to collect fines and penalties for the action. If you stop the sale of it, that's what sewer liens do and mowing liens do for cities and towns. What they do is a lot of times they'll just let those liens pile up because they know that they're going to get paid off if the property transfers. It's almost you know, unless they go to court on every single one, they will a lot of times let those accumulate those liens accumulate, knowing that it's going to get paid off when the property transfers. So that's the theory behind those kinds of things. It's a way to enforce it without having to spend you know, tens of thousands of dollars on litigation. If we go after somebody like a Dollar General, that's probably what we're looking at.
In a way, luckily, this is probably all that the problem is, because at this point, they could have built an extra whole nother building beside it, or did a bunch of different stuff besides their plans, and how would we stop them?
Right.
Because luckily, it's just, I would say, this minor, because it could be way worse. I mean, if they would have put, you know, the signs up too close to the highway, or did certain things that was maybe a more serious violation, we'd be having the same amount of trouble trying to get them to correct it. Because, you know, like, what if I pulled up out there and there's a whole warehouse in the back that wasn't any part of their plans, you know, because it happens with the residential stuff. I'll show up to a pole barn and they've got way more stuff on the pole barn than what they submitted with their plans. That's not too big of a deal because they're usually really easy to correct. You know, it's not necessarily a major violation. It's like, hey, we can fix this, no problem. This guy's not answering. So, I mean,
I'm fine.
Okay. Moving on then, new business, work orders. Right now, we're in the process, I'm working with Schneider to redefine many of our drains, the benefited acres. You know, the old drainage maps that we have in each of the files, the legal drain files, the more I dig into them, the more inaccurate I see that they've been, you know, mapped inaccurately, I guess, not based on contours. And so we're going through and redefining those acres based on LiDAR imagery and mapping. So, that's one of the big things that I think we're gonna be sending out a lot of information on to property owners, because their assessments are gonna change based on that. Okay, so that's one of the projects we're working on. New work orders, we have one, mileage for the month, September is 223.9. Our office update, interest on drainage accounts, in September, $4,147.62. Year to date is $47,300. September permits 20. Year to date, we've accumulated 5825 in that fund. Before we close, I did get a bill up on, trying to think of the county road. It's up along the old towpath road, up around, have to be north of 700 along the river, the north side of the river. We had, one of the first projects I worked on was a Timothy Common drain. We had some tile that needed replaced. We also had a property owner that owned a pond on the north side of the road there that kept leaking across the road and coming underneath the road and into the farmer's field on the south side of the road. At that time, Donnie and I met out there with the property owner, and Donnie was going to open the side ditch along the north side of the road to drain that water that's leaching through the ground, hopefully drain it down and away so that it wouldn't cross over into the farmer's field. That evidently didn't do quite what it was supposed to do. So the property owner took things into their own hands and ran a tile from this area next to the road and hooked it into the county legal drain. Now he wants paid for it. So number one, he didn't come and get a permit to hook into the drain. And now he wants reimbursed for his work to fix what he says is the county's problem. That's the bill here. So I brought it to you.
I don't think, I guess I don't know all of the details of what happened there and what was agreed to and what wasn't agreed to and all that, but I don't see how you can let people do a project and then turn around and bill us for it.
Yeah, without getting, without covering the proper bases before that was done, I would say he's on his own. And we could say, you know, how much is that?
$1,415.20.
All right, we could say there's a $5,000 fee to hook into the or damage to hook into a county drain. And I mean, not that there is, but
Right.
I mean, don't see that that is our responsibility without any discussion whatsoever, other than the discussion he had with you and Donnie a year ago, probably. So,
Yeah, no, I understand his frustration, you know, he's got a neighbor that's got a pond that's leaking,
Mhm.
and he's getting bad end of the stick,
right.
but, you know,
But
we tried to alleviate the problem, and he never came back for any follow-up on that.
for more conversation about it, yeah.
So, you know, I don't know that we could have legally done anything about it, but, you know, the error was made with the pond.
Right.
And sealing that pond improperly, which isn't the county's problem,
Mhm.
so. Okay.
Now, if anything, I could see it being the pond owner's responsibility, not the county's.
That's what yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Mr.
my
Chairman.
feeling.
Mr. Chairman, I think you should make a motion to deny payment on this claim.
Okay.
So moved.
And I will second, given a motion and a second to deny payment on the tile drain that was placed. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I
Motion
will say
passed.
the invoice was sent to the Carroll County Highway Department. And the highway said, well, it's drainage. So,
Hmm.
either way, you know.
I forget where this pond is. I remember talking about it, but
I can probably show you on that. Let's see here.
It's not a real big pond.
There's the Condon right there, and that pond's about right in there.
what road is that?
That's
Oh,
towpath.
towpath, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just on the north side, and what's happened is it leaches through and underneath the road, and really, it's not doing the road any good either.
Yeah.
You know, like keeping it wet. So, and
What
then-
doesn't
so
do
he
his pond any good to leak out of it all the time either.
No, I wouldn't think so.
I wonder if he has much inflow into the pond.
I think he's got a pretty good watershed up above there.
Because
that
it's
comes through
at
that
the
hill.
bottom of a pretty good sized hill, if I
Yeah.
recall
I
correctly.
think there's underground streams that feed it as well. Comes out of that whole, you know, the whole Wabash is like that. I mean,
Mhm.
there's sand veins that, you know, water coming through. That's all I have.
The guy up there that we sent a notice to about the removing bollards off of, I can't remember the county.
Gone. Those are gone.
It's done.
Yeah,
That's what I wanted to know.
yeah, those were done about a month ago.
Did our highway department do that, or
No.
he did it on his own?
Yep.
Okay, very good.
Come to find out, I think what he did is he had a pipe down through the middle of them, and they were just stuck in a hole in the pavement. So he just had to lift it up, roll it away.
Interesting.
It was not a big job.
All right. Nothing else to come before the Drainage Board. The next Drainage Board meeting will be Monday, November 17th, presumably at 11 o'clock. And I'll accept a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Beth?
Don't see her for the next week.
Where are you going?
North Carolina.
North Carolina? Very nice.
Yep, see my grandkids, my daughter and her husband.
Have a good trip.
Thank you.